every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook. Let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hey, how y'all are? Cajun Rob here. Old buddy John couldn't make it tonight. He's got some issues going on, but we'll hold it down for him. So anyway, we're running a little technical difficulty, so we're a couple minutes late. But Stephen will be on here in a minute. He's on here a second ago, and I know he's got storms in his area, and we got storms in my area, so it happens. So he'll be on here in a minute. I just talked to him a minute ago, so he is out there, out and about. But anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that appreciate you having on, and we'll have a good show anyway. So, but anyway, do a couple things here. I'm used to having my technical wizard with me, so but we get him. But anyway, real quick, guys, I was kind of waiting on Steven, just kind of hanging out. I said, got any questions being a co-angler? There he is right there. Let me, if you don't know, Steven is a Toyota angler. He's got some top finishes. He just won, he won a couple years ago in Lake Seminole in 21. And he just had a third at the Toyota at Okeechobee here in January. So he's a heck of a stick. And let's give him a big round of applause and a welcome. And let's bring Steven on board. Hey, Steven, how's it going, man? I think I might have accidentally kicked you off, man. I think I zoomed instead of zapped. So it's all good, brother. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that.
All right. But if you want to, just kind of introduce yourself and kind of how you got started and then how you got started in tournaments. And I'll let you share that real quick with the folks out there if not familiar with you.
Yeah, just a small-town country boy from New York. Started fishing locally and then just, doing local tournaments as a co-angler. And in like 2015, I did my first ever start on Champlain as a co-angler. I ended up drawing Pete Lusick. It was pretty awesome. He fell on the boat that night.
Oh, poor D's got a knack for doing that, don't he?
He got no balance on a boat. But no, it was cool. So for my first experience, it was pretty neat. And then it was about 5 years before I even thought about doing another one. And man, when I did that first one again, it started like full time, I'd say, as a co-angler. I ended up getting sick. I lost by like a pound.
Oh,
like, I got a shot at maybe winning a boat here. So I continued with it. And here we are 3 years later with a boat, and pretty good stats. So
absolutely, man.
Yeah. It's fun.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I tell people, man, they talk about it, and I don't know. I said, well, if you're not sure, go as a marshal. I mean, I've done marshal a couple, 2-3 times, and it gives you kind of real behind the scenes look and how everything goes. So it's pretty cool. So
nap as a marshal, though.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing on Lake Cumberland. I know FLW was kind of getting away from co-anglers on the FLW tour in 2018. And that was the closest tournament for me. So I said, I'll go as a co, and then last day I'll do the marshal thing. So last day I did a marshal thing, and I got James Watson. Was his marshal. And I never forget, Bill Taylor was giving out the, who's going where. And I never forget, he looked at me and says, Rob, I'm sorry, you got James Watson today. He just said it as seriously as he could be.
I heard he was a great guy.
It's pretty funny.
Guys I wouldn't partner with.
Oh, he was.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was. I think he finished 7th or 8th that tournament. He did really good, but yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day in the water with him. But
I've never marked.
But it's pretty cool.
I'd like to try.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because it's funny when your boat catches a fish, you want to grab the net. It's like natural instinct. I can't grab the net, but it's pretty cool. You just sit back, eat snacks, and talk to your boater, and sometimes. Like on a bigger truck, FLW, I did FLW Cup one year as a marshal. They give you like an iPad, and he caught a fish. It's about 2 pounds at this time. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool experience.
Yeah, learn a lot too.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, you do. That's the main thing. And it depends on the guy. There's a lot of guys like to talk a lot, some don't. But it's a heck of a way to go, man, for sure.
Yep.
But But for people don't know, kind of go over. I know you had a great finish here, first year kickoff at Okeechobee. If you want to kind of talk about that for a minute.
Man, I love that lake. I've fished that lake 3 times in the top 10 every time I've been there. But
wow.
Yeah, I only started fishing the Southern Division just to get out of New York in the winter. Like, I never took it as like something I really focused on until now. Like the South, I'd rather fish the South than the North, kind of, pretty much in my eyes.
Oh yeah,
I feel. I'm just a shallow water guy, I think. But now with live scope, obviously, I'm out fishing 40, 50 foot of water now too. So, but
oh wow,
I like we were talking earlier. Like everybody says, I got a horseshoe up my with my draws. Okeechobee, I didn't really, except my final day partner, which was, we were both sitting in second. Brody Campbell. But like I drew a guy day one. He lived in the country for 3 months. He's from Venezuela. The only thing he did was throw a Senko, and he swam it. And I was just tossing the chatterbait and a Senko behind him. He was working too fast, so I was able to throw a Senko behind him and just let it rot. The fish were just coming into spawn. We were fishing a canal, and they were coming in. We were catching 2-3 pounders almost every cast. So I had like 15 pounds in the first probably half hour. And then hooked an 8-7 or a 7-8. And ended up getting tied up in his power poles. Thank God, I don't know how but he picked the pole up and the line started coming up with it, and I'm like yelling, "Drop it, drop it!" And he dropped it back down, came out, netted it, and I had 19 something, and I sat down and we had like a half hour left. I'm like, "Dude, you could continue fishing. I'm gonna hang out and I got the net for you, whatever you need, but I'm good. I think I'm all right. I'll be fine for tomorrow." And he's like, I don't know. Should I go back? And I'm like, with the amount of the males we caught and the spawn time and catching that big one right at 2:00-ish time, they were just starting moving. I'm like, I have to go back. He ended up going back day 2 and catching like 23 pounds and put him in the cut. He's been here 3 months, never even bass fished Okeechobee that much. And
wow.
And it was great. Day 2, I ended up drawing another great guy and ended up, I'm not trying to say this in a bad way, but I mean, just smoked him behind him. Ended up giving the bait I was throwing. At the end of the day, we came in and he pulled out like 5 chatterbaits. He's like, "You're going to need these for tomorrow," because that's what I was catching them on. Yep. Gave them to me. He's like, "I got the trailers you need if you need." So it was cool. They were out to help.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, there's guys that give you rod, line. I mean, whatever you need, man. It's amazing.
I had a guy at Harris. He gave me a rod. He's like, "I give all my co-anglers a rod every time they come on my boat. Brand new Fitzgerald rod." I'm like, "No kidding." Like, I don't really need it, but it was cool.
Dang, I need to be paired up with that guy.
Yeah, no, Steve Eastman, he was awesome. He ended up taking the dog at like 75, man, right in his teeth, right at takeoff. We got it on a YouTube. It was funny. It exploded all over his face. He never let off. And we passed like 25 boats going into the Dead River.
Oh, heck. Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He was a co-angler, and he had a coot hit him in the face. I always wear like a motorcycle helmet or something because, and I've had, hell, go through hell and sleet. Yeah. Gosh, that makes me hurt thinking about it.
Back to Okeechobee, the final day was actually the first day for the Bass Open practice. So when we pulled into, we were fishing Hardy Pond on the final day, and we were fishing this cut inside of it, and we probably had 15 boats in there with us, and only 2 of us were in the tournament. All the other boats were open guys practicing, and my boater had caught 32 pounds. He caught the biggest bag of the event there the day before. So we went in, and we must have seen, I'm going to say probably 5 bags over 30 pounds caught around us. From guys to another guy in the tournament. He lost a giant. I caught a 6.5. I mean, they were all over. And I think if we had maybe 5 boats in there, we probably both might have won the tournament.
Man, yeah, that's insane, man. I mean, you think about how many pounds come out of that one spot. It's just amazing.
It was a 75-yard circle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Florida fishing. Like, I talked to a bunch of buddies up here in the north, and I'm like, man, like, you don't know what a community hole is till you go down to Florida and you fish like Okeechobee, and everybody's in Hardy Pond right on Dyes, and there's 50 boats. You're talking to 5 guys at once and trying to keep your line from getting up with another guy. It's mad sometimes.
But down there, it kind of caters to a co-angler because, I mean, everything's kind of 6-8 foot.
100%.
And then where you cast, yeah.
There's especially with Okeechobee with the water being high now, there's so much dead stuff underneath. Like anywhere you cast, there could be a 10-pounder.
Oh, yeah, easily. And we got our good friend Alvin tuning in from the American Angler Outdoors saying good evening.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Alvin? Alvin's good, definitely good people.
Yep.
But I had the same experience. I did my first Bass Open. That's when I got paired with Gerald Swindle down there, and that was quite the experience, man. He actually went in this little depression. Yeah, and it's funny. He talks and jokes around, but he's fishing. He gets real quiet and serious, which I understand. But I noticed on the guys like that, their first cast or last cast is just as accurate. It's amazing.
Yep. Never give up,
Yeah, I thought I was a good caster. I go with some of these guys. I'm like, I need to practice.
Right. Doing backhand skips and, right where they need to be,
Oh, yeah. And I know one of my boaters said practice with both hands, flip and pitch with both hands. I've been trying. It's a little awkward reeling, but it's pretty cool. I can see where that definitely come into play for sure.
I've been trying to get that. How them crappy guys, they like slingshot?
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a Senko to do that. It's tough with a bass rod.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
whiplash coming back.
Yeah, that is a little too snappy or something. You might have to get a little ice fishing rod or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I remember some of the old hands in Florida used to use a Zepco 33 and stuff, and they'd like throw a swim worm in there, and they say it retrieves better or something, but they swear by it. Yeah, Zepco and a swim worm, that's all you need. Okay.
You'll see this year, I think the invitationals will be in Champlain right around the spawn. You'll see a lot of guys with jigging rods.
Really? Huh.
Probably like a 4-foot jigging rod. It's lighter when you're laying down. It's just lighter to use and you hook up quicker. So.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Now I use a little 6-foot rod spinner bait. If my boater's close to shore and he's flipping or pitching, I'll do a little spinner bait and kind of just roll cast. And man, with that little short rod, it's so easy to get it accurate with that thing.
A lot of guys don't realize too. You could be 4 foot offshore, but you just make the right cast. You're still gonna catch them. They're still there. So.
Oh yeah, and you still got behind the boat. I've dragged a drop shot in a Carolina rig behind the boat. I don't know how many times and caught them. So.
As a Carolina rig is definitely that, and a drop shot definitely two big players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like last year, I think I cashed more checks. I was flipping and pitching a drop shot up shallow, and I probably cashed more checks on that than anything last year.
Yep, you're just getting more bites. You can cycle through fish a little more.
Exactly. Now, what of all the lakes you fish, what's been your favorite lake so far?
Definitely have to be for the south. Would have to be Okeechobee. And up north, Champlain has had my heart since I started doing this game. So,
I got you.
A largemouth down south, a smallmouth up here. It's those two. They're hard to beat.
Yeah, now that's two lakes I've not fished yet, but they're on the wish list and the bucket list. So,
have you ever got to the St. Lawrence River?
No, but it's on the list. John keeps wanting me to come up there, and I'll eventually get up there.
Yep.
But I've heard a lot of stories about it. So I'm gonna get up there eventually. But that's for sure. Now, is there a lake that you've been to that you don't want to go back to?
I think you brought up Cumberland before. I had a pretty tough time with the championship there in Table Rock. Table Rock set up a lot like the way I like to fish. It was just we had a crazy cold snap at the championship last year, and it was tough. I was double zeroed, to be honest with you. Couldn't catch them. I don't know if I lost you. We might have froze.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Had a little technical difficulty there, so we all good. But yeah, I got some storms and tornadoes passed through. I got a tornado watch, so nothing close yet, but you know how it goes. But we'll have Stephen back on here in a minute. We'll get him hooked back up. So, but yeah, guys, he's had a lot of top finishes in Toyota, so I'm looking forward to sharing some of his knowledge and get some tips from him for sure. But we'll get him hooked back up here in just a second. So just hang out with us. There he is right there.
Yep.
Hey, buddy, sorry about that. I just had a tornado watch warning. By the time it dropped my internet out, I'm running on my hotspot on my phone. So
I know tornadoes.
Yeah, I know it's been a crazy weather year, but yeah, Cumberland. I mean, that's kind of my closest, biggest lake, and it can humble you real quick.
Yep.
I think I got it figured out, and I'll go and just struggle all day. So I feel you on that.
There in December, it was not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that tournament. I think I come to the weigh-in, and I had a couple buddies fishing it. So I remember that tournament. But anyway, for co-anglers first starting out, you got any tips or suggestions if they're just starting out? I know I tell them, hey, just carry 3 to 5 rods. Don't get carried away. Get a small bag, 3 to 5 rods. Keep it simple.
Yeah, you don't need all your tackle and all your rods, really. As long as you, like, my biggest thing with a co-angler, I would say advice-wise, is just learn to adapt. You know, You're going to get a different guy doing different things all day long. So you just keep it simple, what you like to throw. I mean, if you got a drop shot on for going deep and then maybe a chatterbait for shallow and something in between the Senko or a little Ned rig as a co-angler is a great lure to have on at all times.
Absolutely.
Never overthink it as a co-angler, and just try to be respectful. I mean, some of these guys would give you the front of the boat if they could, but
yeah,
just adapting is definitely the biggest thing.
Yeah, little Ned rig. I've been throwing it a lot more lately. I had a BFL in South Holston, which is kind of between Tennessee and Virginia, and we had smallmouth on the bed, and my boater was catching them on drop shot. And I said, well, I can't drop shot. And he kept having fish bite his sinker. He'd have bite marks on the sinker. I said, Ned rig. Yep. And actually had that yellow Ned rig head, and the black, what's it called, yoga pants from TRD.
Yep.
That was the stuff, man. I started catching them.
We got a couple older guys that I fished with. That one of the guys pretty much got me into the sport, but man, they've been throwing that rig for probably 25 years, and they always called it the little guy. We always called it the little guy before anybody called it the Ned rig or anything. Man, it was just a little 3-inch Senko on an 1/8 or 1/4 ounce head, and man, it's still today. It catches them,
Yeah, they even got a micro Ned rig. I think it's like 2/3 or maybe half the size. So yeah, they kind of for crappie and stuff. But I did catch a crappie Sunday fishing on one.
The Yamatanuki on a jig head like a Ned rig is definitely a good player anymore now, man. That bait has come a long way.
Oh yeah, that little tail, man. That tail just shakes and shimmies.
Even for scoping, man, they love that thing.
Oh, I'll try that. I never tried it. I'll give that a whirl.
Yep.
Dang. And our good buddy Josh Nelson is tuning in. Says, "Yep, Ned rig is hot. It is, man. It's when you're cold and you need some bites, throw old Ned out there."
Yep. Actually, the one that got me second on Erie, I threw a 4-incher on there.
Yeah.
Just a 1/4 ounce, and I mean that pretty much did all my damage all week for me.
Oh yeah, and I've tried those. They got those bigger nets for deep water. It's got like 3/8 half-inch heads. They're thicker, but they're about. Yep. I've tried some of those, so that's pretty cool.
A lot of rock up here, man. You lose them like every cast.
Hey, same way here in Kentucky and Tennessee.
We go 16th. The lighter the better most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do 16th, 8th, because Kentucky and Tennessee same way. It's rocky and jagged rocks and all that fun stuff. So
yep. Lots
it's
of
pretty cool.
Definitely.
And then another question I get is like co-angler tackle. I got one of those Bass Pro bags, and man, I've had that thing for 2 or 3 seasons. That thing's been a workhorse. And but I tell them, 2 or 3 Plano boxes and stuff you some plastics and some jig heads, you'd be good to go.
Yeah, I really don't carry much hard baits with me most of the time. I have one Plano box of chatterbaits, jigs. I'll have maybe a glide bait in there, definitely a bunch of jerk baits, but I mean, just my confidence baits in one box, a box of hooks, a box of weights, and then as much soft plastics most of the time as I could bring.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
Yep.
down south, I mean, most of the time I got nothing but speedworms. It's speedworms and Senkos for soft plastics in my bag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Senko, man, I think so versatile. I mean, you can Carolina rig it, Texas rig it, shaky head. I mean, it does everything.
Yep. If you find the right color that week, most of the time you're gonna be doing pretty well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they will. There'll be a certain color, a certain tweak, like on the old green pumpkins. You know, dip the tails. I've done where I dip the head and the tail and the wacky rig it, and that works pretty good.
I know a couple little secrets down south, but I know a lot of the guys that dip the whole worm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen guys do swim baits that way.
Yep, dips the whole thing.
Yep.
It works. You know, it's like especially a speed worm down south, man. That chartreuse it looks a lot more like a needlefish.
Oh yeah,
which apparently
absolutely
what it's mimicked. But you don't really see the needlefish in person much ever. You know, as bait, you might see one jump out of the water from being chased, but you don't really get to see what they look like most of the time.
That's interesting. It must be one of your fans. Stacy Brace just gave you a heart.
Oh, that's my mother.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mom. Well, I'm glad you tuned in. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of series out there. I was talking to John the other day. They have some co-anglers for the Toyota, I think, in one of the Centrals or something. And they're saying, hey, I'll be your co if you pay my way in. And we're starting to see more and more of that. That's kind of interesting.
On Facebook all the time on the BFL page, guys are willing to pay their co-anglers and pay for their stay to get them in the event and stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's insane. But here down in Florida, they got more boaters. And then somewhere in like Carolinas, there's always more boaters. So in Tennessee, Kentucky, we had the same problem. I got a text last night. I'm fishing Douglas Lake in East Tennessee Saturday, and they already texted us today. Said, "Hey, we're short on co-anglers." I'm like, "No, what to tell you." Advertise.
The biggest event I fished was 180 boats for a Toyota. That was down south.
Oh yeah, I did a Toyota on Guntersville maybe 2 years ago, and we had 325. And the first day we had like a 2-hour fog delay. It was, we was all right there at Goose Pond. There's like 300 boats. We're just like floating around like little corks, you know. It's like
Guntersville's fun. Oh
yeah, it was a blast. I've kind of hit and miss. I'm either hot or cold there, but it's fun lake. It's a beautiful lake. Your mom said that's my boy. Hi. Got a good boy there, Mom. You done well. But anyway, yeah. Now I noticed I was looking through some of your stats. You went on some of the series. You went co-angler, boater, and then co. So is that a hard transition going kind of back and forth?
So really, the only right now where I'm at, the past 2 years I've been fishing boater in the north and co-angler down south has been pretty much how I've been trying to keep it. I just can't afford to go down south and fish as a boater right now.
Yeah,
but going down as a co-angler and just not having to worry about all the expenses as a boater and everything, it just makes it easier. And I just try to go down there and enjoy myself and get some sun, get out of I'm not a big fan of ice fishing or nothing, so I'd rather just spend the week down there. And I drive down every time. I got a little Honda Civic. I throw all my stuff in. It costs me about $80 to get down there.
Dang.
In 16 hours, and I'm fishing the next day, you know.
Yeah, that's one advantage being co too. You don't have to practice. I mean, boater, you got to practice. I mean, if you got a chance, but co-angler, you can show up.
2 days most of the time. If I can get 2 days in, especially down south, you know, like it's. I mean, things change so fast. We fished an Okeechobee event 2 years ago. It was 35 degrees in practice, and tournament day came in. It was 90. And
good night.
I swear, every fish in the lake pulled up shallow when that warm water came in. It was nuts. I mean, I was looking at 10-pounders on beds that I couldn't catch, and it was awesome.
Oh man, that's funny. So sometimes they'll change like that and turn the fish on. I mean, I've seen that happen.
Yep.
Like everybody struggle on day one and everybody catching 20 on day two. I've seen that happen.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. But
that takes your practice and throws everything right out the water, basically, you know.
Yeah, but how many times we show up for a tournament and it's totally opposite? Like sunny all week, Saturday, storm and rain, high winds. It's always going to be changing, seem like.
Yeah.
That's the only constant is changing conditions.
Yeah, always.
Every time, man.
Always during the events.
Yep. Absolutely. But we've got to talk about some techniques now. If you're on, they put you out on the lake, say, hey, you got one technique to use all day. What are you going to choose?
I'm gonna give you two, because I'm gonna give you one for the south and one for the north. But
Okay.
For the south, I mean, a huge Florida staple's a chatterbait down there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
If you don't, everybody's got 2 or 3 on deck. Everybody.
Yep.
And nobody played, like 3/8 was always I guess a player when the chatterbait first came out. But if you're not throwing a 1/2 ounce anymore, especially in shallow water, burning it, or getting caught up and popping it off, like that's how you're getting bit down there. And that's
exactly.
The speedworm. I mean, the chatterbait and the speedworm go hand in hand down there, and that's it. But I mean, you come up north, a drop shot, or right now, obviously the Demiki rig, especially for smallmouth, is those 2 baits are really all I need. Or a Kitech jig. That's one of my favorites to have up north as a jig. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I done pretty well last year on a wobblehead. I had a boater that was kind of chatterbaiting, and I'd either spinner bait behind him or do that wobblehead. That wobblehead's been pretty good to me.
Yep.
I love it as the action, but you almost like a crankbait, and you polish rocks with it. But that's pretty good.
Like biffle bug, pretty much.
Yeah, like a biffle bug.
So, yep.
Yeah, but I'll throw a worm on it, or brush hog. You about anything you want to throw on it. It's good.
Yep.
But have you had any close calls, co-angling? I've had a couple kind of close calls. I mean, it wasn't the boater's fault. We've had a rogue wave or something come over.
Oh, I definitely had my fair share of getting wet, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, as close calls, nothing scary. I mean, like we practiced that Erie tournament. My buddy, we were out in Kelly's Island. We had 8-footers out there, man, and he ended up getting seasick. So we drove into the Kelly's Island to try to get him off the boat, and we beached like 200 yards offshore. And I mean, we were still probably 3 or 4 foot of water, but the waves were crashing so hard it pushed the boat up and beached it. And the thing had 13 hours, brand new Ranger, man, and totaled it. It freaking crashed, and the waves just didn't stop for 5 hours. We were stuck out there.
Oh yeah. That happened to a buddy I think it was on Del Hollow. I think that happened. He was trying to beach his boat, was trying to get his truck, and it crashed it into the riprap, and it messed it up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you've seen recently like what went on at the Harris Chain event with those 2 crashes, and
yep.
I mean that's on the guys that were driving. I'd have to say, that's just unacceptable for any of that to be played with. I mean, that's gone over in the rules before the tournament. Guys know not to run idle zones, and people, I don't know, people just get think they're Superman, I guess.
Oh yeah. I've seen, especially young kids, man, they were wide open. If the waves are 2 foot or 10 foot, they're wide open.
It's funny.
Always.
Just said that because one of the guys that crashed at Harris Chain, my buddy ended up riding with at the St. Lawrence, and we called him Full Send Ben. He had no seat for my buddy. Like, he sat on a hard piece of plastic, pretty much. Nothing to, and he said he never let off, and they were running through, my buddy knew it was like 2 foot of water with giant rocks and stuff, and this guy just never let off.
Ooh, not good.
Yeah, and then here he is in the woods,
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can gamble, but eventually it's going to catch up to you.
Oh yeah, yep. I mean, you gamble a lot, but you try to do it in the right way and keep everybody safe. Like when I'm a boater, man, that's the difference from going to co-angler to a boater. You don't understand the responsibility you have. You got somebody else's life in your hands. You got on Champlain, they send you day one, and you got 25 mile per hour north wind. Like you're driving straight into 4 and 5 footers. Like
oh yeah.
Some guys, like, you get an older gentleman, you can't run that stuff like you normally can. You got to take your time, and it's so you got to play your cards here.
Yeah. Now running waves, like I've been on maybe 3 or 4 footers, maybe 5 footers. But when you're running the big waves, you like hit it, kind of put your front end up, and kind of like feather it, or how's the best way to do that?
I'll drop my jack plate and I'll trim up a little bit to keep my bow up, and I just try to stay and ride them. I got a 1911, so I could kind of squeeze in between those bigger waves.
Right.
Sir, I mean, I gotta kind of run them a little bit, but when they're big rogue waves like that, man, I just like to trim up and just let my bow ride, and I don't care if I got to go 10 miles per hour as long as we're getting there, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys that that they'll put that, like I said, put the nose up a little bit, and they'll kind of feather it. They'll kind of. I've rode with an older guy that was used to running Erie and all. And man, he was good. He was really good.
Yep, that's this guy Drew 6. I rode with on Erie, man. It was rough, and we passed every boat in this nitro. And I'm not a fan of nitros. I've been in a couple, and they're a rough ride. But he knew how to drive, man. And it was like I didn't have to hold on or nothing in 4-footers. He was running troughs and he knew how to run everything, man. It was awesome. And I kind of learned on watching what he did. And when I'm out on Champlain, you figure it out,
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. That's great. But yeah, you can tell pretty quick who knows how to run a boat and who don't. Like within the first 5 minutes, if you're you're like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, or yeah, this guy's.
My guys normally have a blast. Most every time it's like, man, what a ride! That was awesome. This little thing is a rocket ship. It's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
I like to get there. I like to get where I'm.
Oh yeah.
There, So I might scare my co-anglers a little bit, but I never put us in danger. I'll never go too crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm okay with guys going fast just so they know what they're doing and they, take the curves. I mean, you can tell, they know what they're doing.
It's my first tournament down south. I drove straight down there from here and drove right to Toho, parked in the parking lot, and woke up that morning to getting on the boat. Like for the first time ever in Florida, and I ended up getting this guy. We drew boat 2, and we were in an Allison, and everybody at the boat launches, talking to him about how fast his boat is and everything. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, man, all right. I've been in fast boats, and we ended up hitting 89, right? Like probably the first 2 miles, and he never let off the whole way. it was a wake up call. And that all them boys like to go fast down there. It's a southern thing. It's definitely just having the fastest boat, but they don't get the rough water like we do up here. So
no,
you ain't running like that up here.
Now, if you say Allison, I used to live in the Knoxville area, and I lived right down the road from the Allison boat plant. Yep. And I'd be out there fishing and watch the Allisons go by and just yell. I was like,
they like to walk, but man, I'll tell you, when they get up and go.
Oh yeah, Tennessee, they got, they had Allison, Bullet, Stroker. I mean, some of the fast boats, and man, them guys get out there and haul it.
Man, my buddy's got a Phoenix, and he's a boat mechanic, so he's got a show on the back, and he got it mapped and all that, man. That thing looks like a Ferrari, like put you back in the seat when it's going, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. But you talk about motors. I see a lot more Suzuki's out now. I see them on pontoons and boats. I mean, Suzuki's making a big push. Seems like.
I'm pretty sure MLF switched to Suzuki as their sponsor this year. So.
Yeah, they did, because my BFL's the flag boat's got it's a Phoenix with a Suzuki on the back. It's one of those blacked out ones. It's pretty sharp looking.
Yep.
Just different.
I think last year, or it might have been the championship this year. There was one boat in the event that had a Suzuki, and he won $1,000 just because he was the only boat. It was like the top Suzuki finisher. Well, he's the only guy with a Suzuki, so he won $1,000 without even having to fish.
Hey, get him when you can.
I haven't heard nothing bad about him. I know my buddy used to run one, but I'm sure everything's pretty equally matched now.
Oh yeah, I know there was like one of the top saltwater brands, and they're kind of branching over to freshwater, but. Yeah, I've never heard anything. I say guys that got them swear by them. So,
yep.
But nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but that's another thing being a co-angler. You get to ride all these different boats. You say, well, I like this about this one. I don't like that about that one. So it's pretty cool. You get a good feel of what you like and don't like.
Depends on the driver sometimes, too.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, like layout. Hey, I got plenty of room for a co-angler here. And this one, I don't get that much room.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. But anyway, like I said, of all the tournaments, I know some of mine I've like zeroed. I've learned more when I zero sometimes than when I do good. Have you ever had that experience where you have a not so good experience finish, but you experience and learn more?
So this is a great example. The last tournament I just fished was the Harris Chain a couple weeks ago. I was catching probably 15 pounds a day in practice. I figured it would take 12 to probably win the tournament, hearing how
Right.
tough the bite was and looking back at years past that, what it took. And come tournament day one, I ended up ninth place and was like, all right, I'm in a good spot. Just got to do it again tomorrow. Went out and zeroed. Didn't even get a bite all day.
Oh, man, that happens. That's
60th or something like that. And what happened was the wind had switched the night before, and all the I fished Griffin day one, and then day two we stayed in just Little Harris, and it changed. The water turned muddy. The colors, I was kind of like a white chatterbait I was throwing, and I was throwing a I forget what color speedworm, but that was both my pretty much better bites all week. Didn't get a bite on it. If I would have changed colors from the muddy water, it might have helped a little bit, but in the moment I had so much confidence in those colors, I never even thought to change.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you there. I mean, when your areas get blown out, man, it's scramble time.
Yep. And
being a boater
too. I mean, we both got spun out. I'm not really sure exactly what happened. It was just, that's why they call it fishing and not catching, right?
Exactly. I mean, that happens. I mean, I've seen KVD zero before, and I'm like, hey, happens to the best of them.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the elites, and some guys. I mean, going to the St. Lawrence, catch 1 to 2 fish sometimes. I mean, I've done it. That place breaks my heart, and it's like a home body of water to me. It's one I love, and every time a tournament comes around there, I just can never make it happen. I'll catch 12 when I catch 25 in practice.
Well, it's like in Eufaula, Oklahoma, they had a lake. It was high and muddy. And I think Wheeler first day caught like 1 fish, but you never see Wheeler struggle like that. So
yep.
It happens to the best of them, man. But I said it's live and learn, as they say.
That's where a lot could help you sometimes too. Sometimes you got to go back to your roots and just go beat the bank. And if you're not getting bit, go beat the bank. There's always fish on the bank, whether they're 12 inches or 2 pounds. I mean, that's what I would do.
Oh yeah, there's always resident fish. Exactly. I'm tracking with you there. Now, it also has some, like high school anglers and young co-anglers say, well, how many rods you bring? Do you have a kind of a guideline? How many rods you bring?
So typically in practice, I'll go out with 7, and then come tournament day, I'd like to have just 5. I don't need too many, but 5 of my top 5 confident baits, and that's that. Most of the time, I'll bring 2 extra reels with probably 1 with braid, 1 with fluoro, probably like a 15-pound fluoro, mediocre. I could throw everything in between with it, and then try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. You got more rods, you're going to be taking more time untangling.
Untangling is the biggest part most of the time, especially when you're in rough water. They're getting beat up and bounced around, and it's, yep.
Yeah, then you got 7 or 8 rods. You're like, young guy. You're like, okay, what I throw? I mean, it just adds more confusion, and you get spun out. So
you got your boater catching him in front of you, and he's doing something completely different out of the water than you've been doing. And you're like, well, I could do that, and you tie it on, and there goes your whole day because you just tried to do the same thing he's doing behind him.
Yeah, I learned early. If you got a guy flipping and pitching, don't flip and pitch because he's done seen the water.
Yep.
Yeah. Try to drop shot or something and do something totally different. But yeah, good point on carrying the reels. I do that now. I'll carry 1 or 2 extra reels because you'll have one blow up, especially if it's windy. You'll have one blow up on you, and it's like, hey, or you want to do something totally different. 2 minutes, you're ready to go.
That's right.
But yeah, that's good point. Great point there. But
I carry I don't know if you ever ran into this. I've never really had the issue, but as a co-angler, you're going to snag up a lot. A lot of your boaters don't want to go in and bust out the area. I carry a couple of those big weights, and you slide them down, knock off.
Yep.
That's saved me a couple lures here on the back of the boat as well.
Yeah, and if I hang up a drop shot or shaky head, I don't even bother my boater. Hey, it's 50 cents or $1. Yep. Now, if it's like mega bass jerkbait or something, yeah, I might ask. But I'm like you. I don't throw a lot of trouble. I mean, if I do throw, it's like square bill shallow or little crankbait shallow sometimes. So,
well, I've learned down south. I never was one for braid. I mean, if I threw a frog, I'd throw braid. But down south, I've learned that almost every rod you got on is braid. And that just for that reason, like Okeechobee, man, you're fishing so shallow, you're gonna snag up so much, especially throwing $15 chatterbaits. Like you don't want to be breaking off every cast. You want to be ripping that stuff up with it and bringing it. No matter even if you're kind of blowing out the spot, you'd rather rip it up out of there than go in and get it.
And what's cool about braid is when like you set the hook or something, it's like a weed eater. You'll see the grass go shoot.
Right up. Yep.
That is pretty cool. But I know a couple co-anglers like in Chattanooga area, they have like 5 casting rods and all they got is 30 braid and they change leaders. They have all braid.
Yep. Exactly.
But they don't crank it up, but they flip and pitch or whatever. But
you actually get. I learned from one of the guys, and I didn't believe it at first until I tried it. But I was always throwing my chatterbaits down there on most of the time 12-pound fluoro, and as I've learned, I've now gone to like 15 to 17. But throwing the braid, that head changes its rattle, everything changes. I think they hear the braid in the water coming through the guide and stuff, so I'd rather throw fluoro. I think that's why I won Seminole. A lot of the guys were throwing straight braid, and I'm down there. I mean, that was my second Southern event. I'm still throwing fluorocarbon, not knowing, getting snagged up in grass, losing fish, but I was getting 100 more bites than everybody else. I think it was just helping me keep upgrading all day long instead of getting a lull and not upgrading and not catching fish. So I'm still a big believer in fluoro no matter what.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now we got everything outdoors 105.12 says them Hudson River waves though.
He was on the Hudson last week.
Yep.
We were out there fishing.
Oh hey. But yeah, I mean, I've seen where I've had a boater me practicing, we're drop shotting, and he'll use like a higher test than I do, and I always get more bites on that. I think it drops quicker, and you get a little more action on the lighter. Your lights you go.
Both of those are definitely a very good reason of why you probably get more bites.
Yep, and I say I kind of work in the fishing industry, and I think one trend we'll see in the future is the live scopers throwing 5, 6, 8-pound braid because you can just sling it so much further.
And I think we'll see fall rate as well too.
Yep. So I think eventually we're going to see a big trend toward that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I might try that. I like that.
Yeah, and plus these Japanese guys like on tour, like on the Bass Opens and stuff. Man, they are like, I mean, they're going to like Sabine River and stuff, and catching the fire out of them on this light stuff.
It's funny because my buddy Sakai, he's he's won many events. He's a hammer, and he kind of taught me something on the St. Lawrence. Like he's fishing 20-pound fluoro on the St. Lawrence, and I've grown up 30 foot. You could see 30 foot down. Like on tests you try to never even go higher than that. You want to be as stealthy as possible. He's out there whacking them on 20-pound fluoro, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, has this been a whole lie my whole life? Like,
Yeah, that guy, I mean, he just check after check. Yeah, I follow him too. Man, that guy, he's right. He's just, God, he's a hammer. But they say Japan lakes get more pressure than ours, which is hard to believe.
Yep. But like we said before, some of them JDM baits you can't get, these guys got. And techniques, especially techniques. I mean, the free rig, is now that's a huge staple for me in smallmouth fishing. And I mean, I'm not trying to throw out anything, but like he's had a lot of success on that. I know a lot of guys that have had a lot of success on it right now.
Absolutely.
Each year you're getting something new that's we don't see, and they're 2-3 years ahead of us. So.
And then the Nico rig and the Tokyo rig is pretty hot still.
Yep.
And that Nico rig, I've had good luck on Nico rig going through grass because you keep your rod up kind of high, and that actually a hook in your line almost acts like a weed guard. Man, you can pull it through.
A couple of the scopers I've been with, majority of the time, that's what they're throwing.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah. Kind of taught me something, just a finesse worm, and you just try to put it in their face, but they eat it.
Oh yeah. Now I've tried and had pretty good luck on wacky rig and a drop shot. Just putting a wacky, just making, and some days they like it better.
My good buddy, I showed him a drop shot, and he started drop shotting a 3-inch Senko and does very well on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got Mandel Pettis Pro Angler says, hell yeah.
That's my buddy Mandel. He's right here from New York. It's one of my
Oh,
travel
is he?
partners. A good buddy.
And then he says, tell him how it is. That's pretty cool. Hey, thanks, buddy, for tuning in. But yeah, it's interesting, man. You get, like I say, I'll get some old guys I'll pair with a North Carolina rig all day and just smash them.
Yep.
I actually had an ex-father-in-law. He owned a bait shop in Knoxville. He Carolina rig a floating Rebel or floating Rapala and just smash the smallmouth. He'd wear me out.
Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Hey, the old ball and chain never fails.
Oh, for co-angler, man. That and a drop shot, like you're right, man. And then Randy chimed in and says 5-pound Cortland braid. Yeah, I've heard some good things about Cortland.
That's another good buddy of mine. He's a hammer here too, and he's
is he?
He's done very well in the BFLs, and he's just starting to get himself into Toyotas now. So you'll see him for sure.
I'll be on the lookout for him, man. But yeah, Toyota, man, I'm telling you, you got to get some hammers in that one. I mean, there's
that's what I'm pushing it. You learn, the BFLs. Some of the guys. I have horrible luck with BFLs. I get motor on boat draws.
Yep.
We break down things. It just never works out for me in the BFLs. And a lot of the guys you see, I'm not trying to talk down on nobody, but it's experience and things compared to the Toyota series.
Oh yeah.
Mostly everybody in the Toyota knows what they're doing, and a lot of these guys are out there competing, and most of them are competitive and on that level.
Oh yeah, and you'll see a lot of pros. I mean, I saw. A couple years ago, I fished Del Hollow, and there was a handful of big-time pros fishing it.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. And then your boy Mandel says, hey, Randy, our boy is up here. Yeah, he said same thing. He says, Toyotas are a bunch of hammers. Going to be a tough one again for sure.
Yeah, I think the Northern's a lot harder to compete than down south. I mean, the South, with like how we were talking before, how the fish will migrate to one area, and a lot of guys will have luck, or not luck, but it falls upon them. Up here in New York, man, some of these guys, they're consistently catching 22 pounds a day of smallmouth, and most of them are fishing 100 foot of water, 60 foot of water, and they're just finding the right fish and chasing schools. And if you can do that and keep up, man, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you notice, too, in Toyotas, I mean, there's just a hair difference. Maybe 1 pound separates the top 20. I mean, I
had 18 pounds a day last year, and I was in 80th place.
God, jeez.
And that shows 1 pound. It just is how much of it, maybe 40 spots, maybe,
Yeah, just one kicker, man, will kick you up, way up.
Yep.
That's amazing, man. That blows my mind.
Yeah, crazy. It hurts your feelings.
Oh yeah, you think you come in? Oh, I'm getting a check today, and you're like, well, maybe not. Nope, not today. Hey, that happens. It happens, but that's pretty cool. But we're about 50 minutes in, and we usually give you the last 5 or 10 minutes, kind of talk about your sponsors or thank people who's backed you. So we'll let you have this time, and feel free to plug whatever sponsor causes you got.
Yeah, I definitely have to give a shout out to Outcast Tackle. They, I've been with them for probably 10 years now, and I probably won more money on their baits. I won the boat on specifically this swim jig right here for 3 days in a row through that pro swim jig right there. 3/8.
Yep.
And never put it down. And Champlain, I got 5th on Champlain on their finesse jig, and
Yep.
Their baits are always been a staple in my mind. And now the chicken rig's out, I've been loving throwing that thing. That thing's amazing. But Eco Pro, they've been good to me. They hooked me up, and going through weights is crazy. So they're always there for me. And I don't really got too many crazy sponsors. I got my buddy owns a bait tackle shop, and he hooks me up with a lot of Kitech stuff. And
cool.
That's Hegman's Bait and Tackle in Shohola, Pennsylvania. If anybody's ever around, it's right on the Delaware River. He's got pretty much everything you need to catch fish right in our area.
Good deal.
Yeah, man, I'm just out here grinding and hoping to win one.
That Outcast. I know South Fighter's got some signature jigs are really their deal.
Yeah, his fighter jig. Yep.
Yeah,
up here in the north, a jig is a staple, and it's, whether you're flipping 15 foot of grass or even a foot of water, you're gonna get bit with it most of the time.
Well, yeah, well, same way Kentucky, Tennessee. There's some older guys throw a jig year round
Religiously, yeah. I mean, if that's a state that I'd ever choose to have for the rest of my life, it'd probably be a jig. You know.
Yeah, I've done pretty good. I've done pretty good on a ball head jig. I've done pretty good over the years on it.
Yeah, I think that in like the Midwest and stuff, that's basically the ball head jig is definitely a better player.
Oh yeah,
we like the football jig up here.
Yeah, I do too. You get hung a lot less.
Yeah.
And it's got that action, kind of side to side action. Yeah, but your boy Mandel says, "Yep, best jig on the market." Period.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh yeah, he knows. And then buddy Josh Nelson says, "Great information and great show, guys." Hey, appreciate it, Josh. Josh has been here before. But yeah, that Outcast. I know a lot of Midwest. My job, I see a lot of Outcast products going to kind of Midwest, Northwest, just by the cases going up there.
Yeah, I mean their hooks, everything about them, they're perfect. Yeah, I've never broken a hook on any of their jigs or anything. I've used Kitech jigs, some real small wire ones. Man, I've lost fish and snapped hooks on them more times than I could probably count. And that's nothing against Kitech, you know. I mean, sometimes I'm forcing them, or sometimes I'm using too heavy a line, and them small wire hooks, you know, they don't take much bend.
Oh yeah, well I used some of those perfect net heads. I tried some of those last weekend. I was really impressed with those.
Neds I'll throw.
Yeah, those are really good.
Those ones, yep.
Can't beat it.
I think Josh Douglas did a little seminar one day, and it showed how better it stood up than the Z-Man. And I mean, from there I was sold, you know.
Oh yeah, it's solid. That's a solid little net head. But yeah, you can't beat it. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna wrap it up before we get in. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and I said another thing, guys. You know the banner at the bottom. Steven's got a YouTube channel, so check it out. He's got some good stuff on there, good content. So check him out, give him a like and subscribe for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Hey, man, appreciate you, man. I learned a lot from you, and, man, keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll be cheering you on and watching you on the weigh-ins.
Cool, I appreciate it, man. Take care.
All right, man. Catch you later. All right, see you. All right, guys. Great content for Steven, man. If you get a chance to, go back through and rewatch it, man. I think I'm going to rewatch it and take a bunch of notes, man, for sure. Great content and great guy. So watch him on Toyota Series, especially in the Northern, and he'll be up on the top. That's for sure. But guys, just real quick going out. I know John liked to have been here, but hopefully he'll be back tomorrow night. We'll have Kevin McGibney from K&K Customs tomorrow night, so be sure to tune in. And another quick thing in the mail today, I got, well, if I get the right angle here, autism shirt. I got my autism shirt on, and actually they come out. This is Autism Anglers. I got one of their reels. Matched up pretty well with my White Kissel rod. So, but even like on the reel, they got puzzle pieces on the reel. That's pretty cool. So, like I said, it's a 6-gill spinning reels 3000 series, which I've got a couple of 6-gill stuff. Been really impressed with it. But anyway, give them a follow at Autism Anglers. We've had Mr. Morris on here. Great association, and great guy. But anyway, guys, we'll get out of here, and I appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody commenting, and let's say give us a like and subscribe. And on the way out, as I always do, I'm going to give you if I get the right mouse here, but we'll give you a peace out. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good day and a better day tomorrow. See you guys. Hit the right button.